strongly caution, the following programs are intended for mature audiences over the age of 18. These programs may contain some material that many parents would not find suitable for children and may include intense violence, sexual situations, coarse language, and suggestive dialogue.
All right, happy Tuesday. We've got Bloody Bill, the legend himself, on here.
I was wondering if I was on the right show.
Yeah. I opened my big fucking mouth on the last episode that we had, and I got stuck with having to wear the Gizmo onesie tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I reminded him. I didn't want him to forget.
I thought it was like a furry episode or a furry dating site or something.
I knew this was going to happen. I was like, this is the worst episode for me to have to wear the Gizmo one.
What did you lose a bet on? Football?
No.
We had another guest, another band on last week, and one of their questions they got asked was, if they could something about a onesie. And I was like, well, I got one. I've got a Gizmo onesie. And she was like, you should wear it. And I had been drinking a little bit. So I was like, yeah, I'll wear it.
Yep.
And here we are.
And here we are.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to let his fans down. So I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of those furry people logging in tonight on this one. But so will I, too. Look at me. I look like one of those Paul Bunyan mascot characters or something. Look at the head.
Well, I mean, you're probably like ran ragged because damn, you've been playing with your band and working on your Indiegogo for the next Circus of the Dead film, and
not to mention just old as shit. But I was gonna say too is my I got two mini Aussie healers, one of them tore his ligament, his ACL the other day, right, and that's very traumatic. And we're waiting for the operation, and he pulled the other one because he saw a squirrel outside. He took off out the doggy door before we could catch him, and then he tore both of his ACLs like in a matter of 3 days.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he's got to have surgeries, but they got to do it on separate times. So I just feel bad for him. I care more about pets than people.
I hear you. I got some pets of my own.
I understand that.
But the run ragged thing, is we started off that Indiegogo by I promised anybody that would email and say, if they left their email number or their email address and said if I would call them that day to remind them. And I bet I called over 200 people from 9 a.m. to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had to take cough drops and everything. And then the next day I was at a convention, and those conventions, all you do is talk. So
yeah. I remember my days of doing the conventions.
But it's like I was here last time. You're a clown, and now you're Gizmo. It's like what? The world is just all fucked up. I don't know what's happening.
He lives on the edge.
Yeah, that's the edge.
Hey, you've got the last clown mask I ever wore.
That's the last
Yep.
one. Yeah, prized possession. I got it on the Tibetan warrior or the Tibetan princess over there that's doing the pray thing. So.
Yeah. That was the last time I ever portrayed Scoops the Clown. My last interview as Scoops the Clown was Christmas Eve
With me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was the last time. So, man, you have have you started filming for Circus of the Dead 2 yet?
No.
No.
Just the funding. We did a contest to be killed by a certain clown or something, and we did pretty good at that. And then we went to raise money on the regular Indiegogo, but we're getting close. I think it's going to hit probably early spring, I bet you, because the winter's going to come here pretty soon. So, once fall gets here, it seems like it gets cold pretty quick.
Yeah, I got you. So how's you just played with your band not too long ago, didn't you?
Yeah, we played Labor Day. I don't think we're metal. Somebody coined us this older Caucasian lady said, "I like you guys. Y'all's music is like honky rock." And I was like, "Oh, okay, honky rock." Yeah,
I have never heard that ever in my life.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And so it's like old guy classic rock, I guess is what you'd say.
Okay.
Hey, I like it. Especially, what is it, 1983? I believe that's.
Oh,
right?
yeah, did you hear that?
Yes, I like that song. I was jamming out. That's one of my favorites. That's all I'm saying.
We just wanted to do a throwback to like we were talking about it one day. We were working on it. I had that lick, and I said, I'm going to play anything 80s I can think of in one song. And I said, let's write it about how, we thought we were going to be in a different place. And by now,
Yeah.
The older you guys are still youngsters, but like somebody old like me it's like you'd never thought you'd be where you're at, when you get older. So.
Oh, I hear you. And I'm not that young, but thank you.
83 is the year I was born.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He's a youngin'.
I might be your real dad.
That would be better than who I got stuck with.
Like, I'll take it.
I tell those. I run that haunted house, and I get a lot of 15-year-old dudes working up there, and they all think they're funny, but I'm pretty good with roasting. But I tell them all the time, I said, I am probably your dad. I said, but what's weird is I said I was only into butt sex, and what does that say about you? So, butt babies.
Holy shit. So we like to play a little game on the show where we've got number from 1 to how many questions do we have now, Mojo?
We are at 47.
All right, so you get to pick a number between 1 and 47. It could be music related. It could not be music related. You never know.
Let's do 17 sticking out in my head.
17. All right, number 17. Oh, this one's pretty good. Are you the type of person that's going to stick your tongue on a frozen pole, or are you going to be the person telling the person to go stick their tongue on a frozen pole?
I'd stick it on there just to have to try it and see. Mostly out of just to entertain somebody, to make it a laugh, or just even I'm curious of what it would actually, if it actually worked. So.
Okay, so I know you live close to me. Can I film that when you do that? Can
Yeah.
you go stick your tongue on a pole?
Because
I'm totally the person to go tell you.
Yeah. It's the thing in West Texas, though. It may get iced over in the morning, and it'll be 100 degrees in the afternoon. So.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I understand that one.
I always tell her when we talk about that question, I'm like, it depends on if I've been drinking or not. If I've been drinking, most likely I'd be the one to stick my tongue to the fucking pole.
Yeah. And it depends what kind of pole you're talking about, too. So.
Not a stripper pole.
I
That's not safe.
I'm gonna pass on that. Oh god. No,
who knows?
on that. All right, what you got next, Billy?
I think I got some surprise. Well, I guess I can't say yet until the contract's signed. I'm not going to say, but there's maybe a big music star signing up for Circus of the Dead. Too.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I'm sure they started in the late 70s, but they definitely would be considered an 80s band.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I still
like
listen to these stuff.
So we'll see. We'll see if we can make that deal happen. I hope. We got David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown, to come be in the movie. So
I seen that.
You remember how I used to have that ongoing battle with those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always for fun and stuff. But I met him, the director and writer Damien Leone, and David, and they're just freaking good dudes, So I'm happy to get to work with them too. So.
Oh, I'm sure. So oh God, I can't wait to see what you do with that. I can't wait. If y'all have not seen Circus of the Dead, the very first one, go fucking watch it. Is it still on Tubi?
Yep. It's on Tubi. They even got it on YouTube now too. But I tell everybody be careful because if it's not close to an hour 45, like on YouTube they got it at an hour 30. So I'm thinking they must have cut a lot of stuff out of there.
Yeah.
And they probably cut the good stuff if you ask me.
Oh, I'm they probably cut out the fetus on the umbilical cord.
Yeah, probably the clown wang and doing the head and sitting at a window. But I could go on for days.
Mojo's like, what? You just have to.
Yeah, Mojo. Here's the thing, though. Mojo is like, It sounds cheesy and hokey, because that was the whole thing when people put out clown movies and stuff like that. But my goal was to say, what if I made one but kept it more serious, kind of like Captain Spaulding's approach. You said, hey, like, what if it was just happened to be their day job as being clowns, but other than that, they're like serial killers. So I took that approach. Even though I say funny things and, about the movie, describing it, it's actually a pretty serious movie with just very, dark humor. So.
Yes.
Yeah, very.
But it's I think anytime I do it, it's like writing a song or something is the simplest thing will start it off. And like Doll Boy, you see this mask with the cowboy hat. Now he's not supposed to have a cowboy hat, but that's my old Bloody Bill hat. But that's Doll Boy. And that short, the dude in the thing is he was more worried about his watch than living. So it's like, it's basically if you put material wealth before, human life isn't good. And in Search of the Dead, it's if you take your family for granted or take your life for granted, because it could always get a lot worse no matter how bad it seems. So that's what Circus is about. Yeah.
It's definitely true. I saw the trailer for the second one. I was digging that.
That's the new one. I mean, that's the old one. Yeah. So that's part one. Yeah. So the new one will all look 10 years older. And I guess some of the clowns might have a walker or a wheelchair.
One of the little scooters.
Right now it's looking like it picks up 10 years after the last one is what I'm playing with. Yeah. But it's basically, I guess Papa Corn's, been playing this game for 10 years. And I think he's coming to a time in his life where, he's ready to maybe turn the page on a new chapter in a new game.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
That's exciting.
All right, so what number you want to pick, Billy? What you got?
Let's do 4.
Okay.
Number 4, travel tips for on the road. So somebody just goes into this wonderful field, either one, music or film, whichever one. What is something like, duct tape? If you got duct tape, it fixes everything, right? We all know that one.
To me, would definitely probably be like wet wipes for when you have to take a dude on the road or something and you're going to get a little bit clean. You don't want to start getting swamp butt or some weird stuff like that and be gone, until you can get a shower at the end of the night or something. So I'd probably say wet wipes is the most important.
Hey.
I can actually vouch for him on that. I had to film this movie, Clown Motel 2, out in the fucking desert of Nevada, wearing all of my clown shit, plus the mask, plus all my prosthetic shit. And it was like 130 fucking degrees out there. And you talk about nasty, nasty shit. And it was horrible. Like, we put the makeup on underneath because I'd paint my whole face black underneath it. And you had to film so fast because within like 5 to 7 minutes, all that freaking paint mail was just like running down my chest, down my pants, like getting all sticky, caked up, and it was not fun. And those wet wipes were a fucking savior.
Yeah, yes, they
All
are.
right.
Say that right now.
Wet wipes now or skid marks later.
All right.
Yeah, it was.
Put that on a sign.
But you can say too, though, is like I said, that's why I don't think clowns would be proper desert warriors, because you need to be in shorts or something with one of those boonie hats on to keep the sun and stuff off of you. So clowning isn't good for the desert.
No clowning around there.
It was absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, so I got a question for you.
Yes,
before we come back into the number game. What is the absolute worst food you have ever had on the road?
I should know this because I always feel like I'm Gordon Ramsay every time I go somewhere. I'd really criticize shit really bad. Let me think about that a second. I don't know, Kelly, do you remember anything I hated to eat lately that like I freaked the hell out on when we went out to eat or something? What? No. Yeah, she said at home, yeah, but out to eat, I'm not sure. We've been trying recipes. We try 2 or 3 new recipes a week, and sometimes one's good, but sometimes they're not. And especially you do like a rice thing, and the rice don't get cooked, and it's like hard and things.
Yeah.
Like that. But I think on eating, I've been living poor since the COVID thing. I just kind of kept it where I only eat out maybe once a week or something. So, and it's usually to the old standard, old mom and pop Mexican food place. I don't know. I mean, I went to Wendy's one time and got a raw hamburger. That was weird, but yeah, and I ain't even talking rare. I'm down with rare. That's cool. No, it was like raw. It was still had ice in the middle. Yeah, I think they messed up and put the wrong one on or something.
See, for me, it was gas station sushi.
Oh, I know better than that. I wouldn't do that.
I didn't choose it. Like, I was traveling with a band, and I think I was in like my mid-20s. And I'm the only guy in the band that knew how to change a tire. The tire went flat on the trailer. So I was like, I'm going to fix the tire. Y'all go in and get food. Just bring me something back.
Yeah.
So they went in and they come out with all of this sushi. Well, I didn't fucking think anything of it because it was like a little there was a bunch of stuff all around the gas station. There was other restaurants and stuff like that. So I figured they walked to one of the restaurants, ordered out, and brought it back. So I get in there, we eat that. We got to our hotel room that night. We had a dude shitting in the sink, shitting in the toilet, shitting in the shower, and a dude out on the balcony shitting in a flower pot.
The gas station.
Did you have wet wipes?
Yeah, did you have wet wipes?
No, we did not.
It's got shower written on that one afterwards. But see, gas station sushi, you don't choose it; it chooses you. That's like a horror movie.
It is.
Yeah, it was a horror movie that night.
My friend,
It was.
There's a local filmmaker, Jake Perry, made a movie called Tapeworm Z. And that's how his starts is somebody buys a gas station sushi and they get a tapeworm. And that's how that horror movie starts. So, but he makes Trauma seem like it's Academy Award winning. But
I kind of feel like I need to watch this now.
he got on Tubi recently, Tapeworm Z. And I'm in it, and my girlfriend Kelly's in it. And I think my dogs are in it too, believe it or not. They did really good. They did better than I did. So they act better than I did. So
okay. Hey, that's a plus. That's a plus. It's all right.
But if you get through it though, I'll give you a cookie for sure.
I could probably get through it because I was a big fan of Trauma back in the day.
Yeah. Well, catch back with me after you watch it and send me a text.
I've made it through the film Street Trash numerous times.
All right.
So I think I could do it.
Somebody was saying Greasy Strangler was a bad movie. That's like one of my favorite damn movies that ever been made. Y'all watch that one?
See, I know about it, but I've never watched it. I've heard about it a million times, but I've never watched it.
I don't know what it is about it, but it's like it's a better trauma. I mean, it's like freaking awesome as shit. It just had heart. I mean, it's funny and goofy, but it's like it's one of the most honest, heartfelt movies I've ever seen. Same thing with what was that one? Psycho Goreman.
I love Psycho Goreman.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like that's a special damn movie too. And that little girl in that movie stole the damn movie. She was awesome.
Yeah, I loved Psycho Goreman. Absolutely loved it. Loved it. Everybody made fun of me for it because I like talked it up and I talked it up.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, it's like a fucking R-rated version of Power Rangers. And I'm like, there. I still fucking like it.
For all practical purposes, you know, it's like if I shouldn't have liked it, but it was, like I said, a wonderful movie and it had a lot of heart. I think every good movie, no matter what genre, if it's got some kind of heart into it, like you can tell that the people that worked on it cared. That's kind of that's your first step on making a good movie. Same thing with music.
Because it was like that was a Shudder original, I think, that they did when they started doing their movies on Shudder. And they also did another film right after that I actually watched that it kind of fucked me up was this horror film called Porno.
No, I didn't see that one.
It is fucked up.
Well, you're going to have to do Greasy Strangler and let me know because I think that's one of the most special movies ever. That's something I felt like I would have watched in the 80s, you know, when I went and rented a VHS tape.
I'm gonna look back. I was big. I remember as a kid, like if I did good all week in school and I didn't get in trouble or anything, my grandfather, my great grandfather would take me first to the comic book store and let me buy a couple of comics. And I'd buy a bunch of the Pogs because I liked playing Pogs. If y'all remember Pogs. So I played Pogs and I'd get a couple of comic books. He'd let me go to the movie store and rent like 2 movies. Of course, back then it was like 25 cents to fucking rent a VHS.
Yep.
You know, I'd rent like 2 movies and watch them over the weekend. And I was big on, I'm still like 80s horror is like my fucking heart and soul. And I watch them movies over and over and over still to this day.
Now you can, that's a good 80s horror. Like it's a double-edged sword for me with that. If you had to nail me down to a decade, it'd be the 70s for me. And The Shining come in, I think, right at 80. So we'll still call that 70s also. But I think it's the 70s for me. But I really love the 80s, or I appreciate their over-the-topness. And a lot of people they're like really ripping off those neon colors and stuff and the lighting and stuff of the movies from the 80s and stuff too. So I like those too. Maybe my second favorite is probably the 80s.
Yeah, I loved the like neon stuff because even me as like a graphic designer, whenever I'm designing stuff, I tend to use a lot of those like 80s neon colors, and it's always been a thing.
Why do you know why you do? Because it's in your DNA from when you're young. You know what I mean? All this stuff. It's like they go, Tarantino steals stuff from other movies and stuff. I go, no, it's just in his DNA. You know, it's like that. My name is Buck and I'm here to fuck. That Robert Englund said that in Eaten Alive, and Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive in one of his first roles. So it's like he borrowed that from, you know, Tobe Hooper. So it's like everything's been around. I don't think anybody's ripping anything off. I think it's just in our DNA, kind of what we grew up on and stuff, even musically and everything.
Yeah, because musically back then they used a lot of that like 80s synth wave was in all of it. And I love 80s synth wave. Like I know that a lot of people are like, what, really? You? Okay, yeah, I'm mainly a metalhead and rock, but I do like 80s synthwave, and I actually do side projects of writing my own 80s synthwave stuff. And I love it. And to me, it was so cool. Like it added to the whole element of the movie, and you could get all kinds of creepy shit out of the synth and everything else. And yes, it was cheesy, but I love that shit.
I guess that too. Carpenter did that in '78 with Halloween.
Right.
And you're right, though. It just changes it. Somebody is asking me if I would do that. It's just I've seen it so much now than people doing it that I think I'd purposely steer clear in circus. But anytime I get somebody to do or that wants to do circus, to do like Calliope or something for me. And that's a big no-no for me. It's like, I don't want that stuff in there. I want to do something different. So I'm kind of leaning towards either old, really, 20s or 30s music, big band and stuff like that, jazz or stuff, or, something strings, like maybe in like The Exorcist, like, piano strings, being scraped or whatever, or violins and cellos and stuff. So I feel like that's where I'm leaning for part 2. Yeah, is that stuff.
So how do you decide on what kind of music to use in your films?
My gut tells me. It just tells me. It just knows it needs something, and what it feels is like, making music and stuff is okay to me, but like making movies is on a different level, because it's like I see it when I close my eyes, I see it when I fall asleep, I just see it all the time in my head, and I play it out. Is like I think one of my big, I wouldn't call it a downfall now because that's what I do for a living, but is I would kind of script everything in my head, going to school the next day, or talking to a girl, or, trying to get some people to like me when I was younger, because I guess being insecure or something like that sent me to there. But it kind of made me a director before I was ever a director. So it's just scripting everything that happens all the time on everything. That's how it happens. And Circus of the Dead is Popcorn was me and my co-writer Lee Ankrum, who actually passed away a couple months ago. But that was us and our alter egos and stuff. And so is all the clowns. The clowns are a part of all of us. But it's like, I was thinking today and talking to the girlfriend that I said, sometimes it's like maybe the ending of that Circus of the Dead should be me waking up and this was all just some kind of weird, or heroin thing or something that I've been going through or something, because that's what it feels like. That's what's cool about that movie, is it is just kind of, somewhere in a mental institute in somebody's head.
I know watching it fucked me up the first time. I was just like, I was blown away, because like I remember finding Circus of the Dead on accident one day, and I was home. Actually, I think I just got back off a tour, and I was home, and I was just scrolling through, Tubi, and I seen Circus of the Dead pop up, and I was like, that looks pretty legit. And then I watched it'll play the trailers or whatever. So I watched the trailer, which is how I met Billy. Now I've known Billy for years now, y'all, but I watched the movie and I was just like freaking out over it and telling everybody, like, you have to watch this movie. You have to watch this movie. So I reached out to Billy and was like, you want to come on my show? He's like, fuck yeah. And then we've been friends ever fucking since. But yeah.
But if I knew you were going to be in a Gizmo onesie, I'd have changed my mind.
Oh, come on. It adds to the flair.
Yeah. If you go back to that too, if I remember correctly too, you're going off about how much you loved Oberst in the movie and stuff like that too. Mm-hmm. There's the thing, is like, if I'd have made that movie without Bill Oberst, I don't know that it'd been the same, because Bill Oberst is something freaking special.
Yeah, he was like, watching him, he was like one of my idols as far as like acting idols was concerned. He was one of my idols. So when I seen his name pop up, I was just like, I gotta watch this shit. It's got Bill Oberst Jr. in it. I have to watch this shit because I love Bill Oberst Jr.
Because it doesn't, whatever he's in, the dude could be in a Chuck E. Cheese commercial and he'd be good. He's good at no matter what he does. But is the stress that comes from my situation is, I don't want to give somebody like Bill a bad role or nothing. So it's like, it really takes a lot to put in something special to make him, because he's the most generous person. Even if I wrote garbage, I don't think he would say nothing. But I'm saying he's like a racehorse or a damn Porsche that goes 1,000,000 miles an hour. You don't get them just to cruise around the school. You get it to open it up on the highway. So, give them that stuff. I tell people, anybody that's going to hire him is like, write the dude some good stuff and let him do what he does best.
Yeah, I agree. All right, pick your number, Billy.
Let's go. Let's do 47.
Number 47.
47 would be bad, because by then you're like saying, I don't even know anything else to put on here.
No, I just keep adding every week. It just keeps going, and there's more and more. It just gets bigger. All right. So after the show and you get home and you got to relax, right? It's always hard for me to just wind down and go to bed right after everything. what are some things that help you out to kind of calm that mind down, get you in the woosah kind of?
Probably weed. It's like, because usually now at this time I'm so freaking hurting. My feet are swollen. I just feel like shit. It's like in the old days, it'd be a cold glass of Dr. Pepper on ice. But these days, man, I feel like I got run over by, a bulldozer.
Right.
So I think that's it. I think that's what I would do. It's like, I'm just glad it's over with. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even the damn playing. It's like when you're a po' boy indie band like me, it's like you're usually doing the best you can to lift your damn amps and move your equipment. And that's the hardest part about being old and playing in a band.
They're not light. I can tell you that.
No, they ain't light. I'm thinking about switching to those. I see these metal guys go up there and they just plug in this board and they plug in. They don't bring amps or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's either a rack unit or they already, like with me, because I play in a metal band. All of my stuff, like all of my pedals and everything, are electronically put on my laptop.
There you
and
go.
I have to put the laptop straight into the PA and
poof,
off we go.
My stuff's so old, and stuff. It's like I wouldn't even know where to begin with that stuff. I can edit like nobody's business on my Avid and all, but yeah, knowing this new technology of music and stuff, man, it's beyond me for sure.
Keeps getting better and better and better.
I was gonna say you should add if I give you a question, your 48 is out of all in movie history, what movie character would you want to be most in life?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put that in there. Number 48.
Actually, she does have one very similar to that, and I'll just go ahead and ask it. If you had a superpower on stage, what would it be?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would just right now. I just wish I'd never aged and got old, so I could still be like young again. Because
have a young.
Ever since that cancer deal and everything, I've just felt like I just lose more and more every year. I just get tighter and tighter. So I just wish I had my youth. I got a 15-year-old stepson here, and he's like a never-ending Energizer battery. Well, I say that, but he went and he played bass in Cornfed Cadillac at the fair. And he is pretty tired and wore out too. And he's one of those that dance around and does all that, and I don't think I could even if I had the energy, but he'll do that. The more he dances around, the more he messes up. So he learned doing this with us old guys that sometimes you got to concentrate on your stuff and then do your moves. So yeah. So I guess maybe never aging.
Nice.
Maybe never aging, yeah.
That would be nice to have, definitely.
What was his name? What was that character? Dorian Gray or whatever?
Yes. Wasn't he a vampire or some shit?
No, I think he was just immortal unless he looked at a picture of himself.
That's right.
Yeah, he just couldn't look at the picture of himself, and other than that, he was like absolutely immortal.
I have a hard time looking at myself in images too. It makes me sick.
It's not that bad. Really. All right, what's your next number?
Just go 33.
33.
That's the superpower.
Wow. Best advice someone has ever given you.
I got an answer for this one actually. Now I'll credit the person who shared it with me, but I think the person who originally wrote this might be John Maxwell. And I'm not into all those self-help seminars and all that, but when I worked for the TV station, I was the creative service director, and all the director or the head of the department heads would have to go to these Monday meetings with the GM, which is Barry Marks. And Barry Marks is the one that overseen the movie and, made me do the budget, made me do this, made me do that. So that way I learned all this. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done anything. But here's the advice. It's like everything in life has got like a 1 through 10 scale. Okay. And like, say I'm going to be a horse jockey, right? And if you start right now, what my talent is doing a horse jockey, it might damn well be like 1. And if I worked my ass off, lost a billion pounds, what's the best number I could get to? You could only, if you give it everything you got, you could only move up 3, maybe 4 things. Okay. So that still just puts me at like a 3. So it would be pointless for me to pursue something like that if I wasn't good at that. You find something that you're good at and that you like, and then you put even more into it, and then that gets you to go up even more levels. So see, as a filmmaker, I feel like I'm at a 7 or an 8. So therefore, that's why I chose that.
That's good advice. I mean, you got to believe in yourself. It's, I mean, your work. And
well, it's why I'm not a swimsuit model either. So,
everybody needs swimsuits. So,
I mean, who knows? Maybe you could be.
Right? So I tell the kiddo that too. Is he started guitar, but the cool thing with him is some kids just don't want to put the practice and the time in, but he's okay with all that stuff. And I think that's what makes the difference on that. If you're not willing to give something all you got, then you're not going to move anywhere. And how good you are right now isn't going to change much. So that's the way I approached guitar, and I should have done better as a youngster. And maybe I'd have been further later on in life. But, jobs, doing this and other passions like making movies changed a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you're doing now is absolutely amazing. So
it's killing me, Mojo. It's sucking my will to live. I'm so afraid of making something bad.
Yeah.
That because I already hate it. Everything I do is not ever good enough for me. Doll Boy, I wasn't even gonna see that light of day. And a friend convinced me to put it into like 2 or 3 film festivals. And then I got into like all the film festivals that I sent it to, and I thought, well, this is easy. But apparently it's not. I mean, you got to make something decent. But I think it was the perfect storm that I got a job at a TV station and worked my way up using, doing cameras, doing, lighting, sound, and all this kind of stuff. And then eventually the script writing for the commercials and stuff. It kind of just, it's kind of like the perfect storm. But I waited 10 years to make this one because I'm scared of failing. I'm scared of it not being as good as the first one and that kind of stuff. Never happened.
Well, it doesn't have to be as good. It can be better.
Well, I hope so. It is better. And I'm giving it all I got. But it's like weird. It's like, I won't cry, I promise. But like, we've lost so many. Like, I've lost Brad Potts. He was in the first one. I was going to make Cowboys from Hell with him. So we had to sidebar that because he passed away. And now Lee, we start getting to work on that. And then Lee passes away. And it's like, I lost my dad within the past 2 years. It's like, I guess really since COVID started, just people been wiping out left and right. And it just sucks. It
does.
It's like I don't get it, So it's like what it's doing is it's affecting the way I write in a sense of it's about that. It's like popcorn is aging, and can you keep doing the same thing forever, or are you even fulfilled at what you're doing anymore? It's like I'm finding I'm me writing about here I go again, real life like in the first movie, but just being in a totally different place now than I was then.
Yeah, it's a real. I think it's an amazing aspect to look at it in the way that you're putting it in as well.
But but Mojo, it's like blues music. It's like, what do they say? You have to live the blues to play the blues, or to write the blues. It's
feel
like
it.
You have to. I mean, making a horror, and you could go, oh, I want them to be run over by 100 lawnmowers and stuff. It's like, that's the fanboys do that kind of stuff. But to write I like writing tragedies. I like writing something that's going to tug at your heartstring or something like that.
Yeah.
When I was going through cancer, I was like doped up on so much stuff, probably even fentanyl too. And I was in bed and I felt like I was coming to the end of my rope in life. So much so that I started writing a will on a paper towel by the side of my nightstand. And I was looking at the ceiling fan, and it looked like this, to me, it looked like this floating blimp creature with like these string arms and stuff. And, I started thinking, and it's like I wrote this story, and it's like I think if that story come out, it's not really a horror, but it is a horror because it's a tragedy. But I think I could win an Academy Award if that was an animated movie. And it was tentatively called Charlie and the Monster Factory, with the Charlie being a girl. And I think I would maybe like to do that one too sometimes. But that's what it is. Being where you're at, when you're at your lowest, and if you could channel that in a creative way, I think is when you're best at what you do. It's these musicians, are they writing better music when they're fat and lazy and rich? Or are they writing better music when they're, living in a 1-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor,
Yeah, working for it. It's giving a story. I mean, that pretty much says a lot about music. It tells a story, and the more you put into it, the more people are going to be in tune with your story.
And that's like I tell the kid too, is like, who's a better player between this and that, is like technically they may be the greatest player in the world, but nobody knows or nobody gives two shits because all they're doing is technical shit. You know, sometimes it's simple as things like AC/DC is the greatest band in the world, you know, and you see what they did. It's nothing complicated or nothing. It's just tried and true and works really good. So it's like, that's what I tell them is like, sometimes you don't have to be the fastest or the coolest tricks or parlor tricks and all this. Sometimes it's just writing good, you know, memorable songs or hooks or riffs and stuff like that, or lyrics that mean something to somebody, you know, movies that mean something to somebody, music that means something. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't like seeing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
I don't want the whole bunch of, you know, the same things, same song. I want those different things because as people, we're all different and we all go through different things. So everybody's going to have a different story. So why are we trying to make everything all the same? I don't know.
And what you're doing 10 years ago, there's no way you could be doing now. So that's what's happening in this movie is it's changing just like music and stuff, you know. It's you take your favorite band when you're a kid is like, you know, it's the story's usually the same. If any of those old bands still touring, it's not the same. They're putting out new music and you go, oh yeah, that's cool. I bought it, but it ain't like the first time you heard something. And when, you know, it changed your life. You know, that's what's cool is making something that sticks to somebody's ribs like gravy. You know, make something that's so important to somebody that it changes their life. Or somebody comes to you and say, you know, Billy, that movie really meant a lot to me because I get this and I felt this. It's when people go into the deep stuff about the movie, then that's when I mostly feel about it. You know, when they say, oh, that clown dong was pretty funny, haha. It's like, okay, yeah, it gets the killer clown aspect about it, which is cool, but I like when people, you know, get deep and think about why we did what we did.
Right. So growing up, what was your favorite band?
Van Halen, hands down.
Okay.
That's good.
It was probably Van Halen, and then late 90s. This is really funny though. You're gonna like this one because my dad, you know, forced everything in the late 60s on me, early 70s, everything. And when the 80s come out, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen. You know, all this is pussy rock, blah, 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 blah. But then in the late 90s on my own, I was at Best Buy when you could buy music at Best Buy. And they put out a Los Lonely Boys CD. And they said, hey, they're from Texas. And if you like Stevie Ray, I go, oh, I kind of like Stevie Ray. Well, I got into the Los Lonely Boys. And then that made me really get into Stevie Ray. And then Stevie Ray really made me get into Jimi Hendrix, like so much that I did a tribute band for a while. And then Jimmy got me so much into Freddie King. Freddie King got me so much into Robert Johnson and stuff, and it started going back, and it's like that I don't even listen to at night when I go to sleep. I put on Robert Johnson or Son House or stuff like that, or things I haven't even heard about, Big Mama Thornton and stuff, and that's where I'm at now. It's like I don't know what it is anymore. It's just I don't know. As I tell that kid all the time, I know he thinks I listen to weird stuff, but he started off liking one thing too. And now he's coming back down. He's hitting the Van Halen stuff and all that and the Black Sabbath and stuff now. But it's like, I think if you really dig into music, it kind of just takes you on a big old journey of kind of all over the world musically.
Yeah.
It did for me. I mean, I remember my first that even made me want to be a musician was actually Motorhead.
Yep, there you go.
It was the very first time because I was an MTV kid. Grew up watching MTV. I didn't watch no other fucking television station other than MTV 24/7. I lived and breathed MTV, and the very first time I ever seen the music video for Ace of Spades, I was fucking sold. And I remember going to get, you know, whenever I went to go get my first instrument, I was like, I want bass.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? You don't want to play guitar? You don't want to play drums? I'm like, fuck no, I want to play the bass.
Yeah. When I first saw that video, all I could think about was that big giant fucking Abraham Lincoln mole on his face. And I was thinking, well, I just like going there. And Lemmy's God and all. And but I'll tell you this, I'm going to say this, and I was just telling the kid this too, is I think I like Fastway better than Motorhead because I'm a real big fan of Fast Eddie Clarke, and I love that Fastway stuff. Like, I don't know, even at the end of 1983, we threw in that "Say What You Will" lick at the end of the song as a tribute because that was recorded in '83. But no, I really like Fastway a lot. I don't know. It's probably because of Trick or Treat, that movie, because the soundtrack on Trick or Treat was freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it definitely was. So how'd you feel about Metallica back then?
You know what? That's what's funny is because that's his band. That's his Van Halen is Metallica. they're too heavy, you know. And when they come out and I first heard them, you know, I started seeing metal up your ass shirts at high school. Now think about that. You can wear a metal up your ass shirt at high school when I was a kid, but you couldn't grow your hair long, you know, but you could wear a metal up your ass thing. So they're too heavy, and it kind of freaked me out. In 1988, I went to the Monsters of Rock, and it had who was it? Kingdom Come, Metallica, Scorpions, Dokken, and Van Halen. And Metallica they just put out, I mean, like barely put out for Injustice for All. And they started playing, it was like 100 billion degrees that day. But freaking clouds come out of nowhere and like lightning and stuff. It was the weirdest thing ever. And they're so, you know, hungry and young and stuff back then. But it's like, I don't understand what anybody says, you know. It's like, I wanted to be John Bon Jovi and Eddie Van Halen then. I didn't get the fact of the music aspect. But do I respect them now? Yeah, and that old stuff is freaking phenomenal too. So, but I guess I still respect them a lot for what they do.
Right. So were you ever a Black Sabbath fan?
Oh, big time. That's what I said. I think people they wait till somebody dies, but I think they need to be putting Ozzy on that pedestal now before he does die out. Because, you know, all those guys are getting so old, and it's like, it's going to hit a spurt in a minute where all those old rock stars are going to be going bye-bye really quick. So,
yeah, I mean, I kind of coined, me and her had to talk about this on the phone the other day, and I was like, you know, you kind of have to coin Ozzy and Black Sabbath as kind of like the originators and grandfathers of heavy metal.
Yeah, and who was his favorite band? Who did he want to be? The Beatles.
Yeah.
Who did Kiss want to be? The Beatles. You know?
They all wanted to be Beatles.
Yeah, but they wanted to be Beatles, but they found their own sound, and then did the thing. And if they didn't find their own sound, they would have never been who they were. I mean, Kiss gets knocked a lot too, but some of that early Kiss stuff is pretty good. And if you hear it in all their choruses and their harmonies and stuff like that, you can see where they're influenced by the Beatles a lot, I think, with their looks and the same sing-along things over and over again. So I can see the thing. Now, the Beatles, too, are like one of the greatest ever, too. But I really like their later stuff, the Beatles stuff, you know.
I hate to admit
Revolver On.
I have never, ever listened to a song by the Beatles.
Get out, really?
No.
It's deep, like, because you could think of the Beatles in the sense of, you know, the love me do, or I want to hold your hand, you know, which I'm not knocking, but you need to get into like the Abbey Road or Sgt. Pepper's or Revolver or something. It's like that deep stuff, man. It's musically, it's fucking, you can't touch it. You can't touch it with a 1,000,000,000-foot pole, man. It's so good.
Like when I grew up, my mom was kind of, you know, she was big into music too, and there was always music playing in my house, always. Especially if it was cleaning day.
Yeah.
If it was cleaning day, you knew as soon as that music hit, you better haul ass or she gonna put your ass to work. If you don't want to clean, you better book it. The minute you heard her put on, and as I got older, we were talking about it one day. I said, if you heard Ace of Base, Madonna, Kenny G, any of those, you knew that she was about to start cleaning. You better fucking haul ass.
Yeah.
Like some of the rock stuff that she listened to, like I grew up with like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And she listened to a lot of Journey. And as a kid, you know, before I got introduced to like heavy metal and hard rock, I guess my favorite band at the time when I was a kid was Jefferson Starship or Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved them. I mean, I listened to that shit 24/7. And that's all I listened to. And then I later on in years found AC/DC and Motorhead and Metallica and all that stuff. But I was big on that like 80s rock stuff. Like we listened to Bon Jovi. And, you know, who else did she listen to? Fucking John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yep.
And shit like that. And all of that has influenced a lot of different genres. Not just metal, but metal, hard rock, I mean, country, just all kind of overloops and intertwines at some point, even though they may not sound exactly the same.
Well, that music in country now sounds pretty rock to me. With just
it does.
It's changed a lot. But look at, you know what's changed since then too is airplay, because you used to get like radio, and we're hearing what there giving us to listen. Now everything's so spread out there. It's just, I don't know that you can have bands. I mean, sure, you get like the Taylor Swifts or something that become bigger than life, but for bands, I don't know if it hits like that anymore. I just don't know. It's too hard for them, I guess.
No, it's like we've had this discussion before on the show, and I think a lot of that has to do with the creation of the internet, because it's before it was hard to be found. Like you had to be found by an A&R guy from a record label, and usually it was playing live, and getting radio airplay was much harder. It was much more selective. But nowadays, like, everybody and their fucking mother owns a damn internet radio station.
Yep.
Playing it. You can get your shit on almost any streaming platform if you're willing to fucking pay for it. Bands don't need record labels anymore. They can be independent and still be successful.
Well, they don't even need albums. They're just putting out singles nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
Half the time you don't even need the albums. I mean, it's fun to do them. Some people still do them. My band still does them. But, they just put out fucking singles and just make that fucking money. But now with the internet, it's become 10 times more competitive because every band can put their shit out. Every band. Doesn't matter how good, how bad, how big, how small. Every single band can get their shit out there now.
And did you notice too how young people are? Like they're whereas we were good like that at 17 or 18, it's like the age now is 13 or 14. These kids are playing. It's like they have different avenues to learn. From just the ear we had when we were younger. Yeah.
I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and I'm sure you know the band Slipknot.
Yes. Actually, the kid's going to go see them tomorrow up in Dallas.
Lucky.
Yeah.
They're an amazing band.
No, I'm the lucky one because I don't have to take him. He's going with somebody else.
Okay. So I literally watched a video the other day of a 5-year-old child playing Slipknot. I mean, note for note.
A 5-year-old Asian kid.
And this kid knows.
I saw that one too. I saw that one.
Fucking little white kid.
Yeah.
5 years old, banging out Slipknot note for note. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This kid's going to be a damn fucking billionaire by the time he's 9. Holy hell. This is ridiculous. I wish I was that good at 5 years old. It took me forever to get good at mine.
I was too busy getting chores and spankings.
That too.
With my $2 guitar that wouldn't stay in tune back then.
So if you had the chance to tour with any 3 bands, doesn't matter what genre, doesn't matter dead or alive. If you had the chance to tour with any 3 bands, who would they be?
Definitely Van Halen would be in there. I would have to do Jimi Hendrix. And I dare say I think the Beatles. But later on when they didn't tour. I wish I was touring. So.
Okay, fair enough.
But if you notice who wasn't on that list was Cornfed Cadillac. So,
well, no, you got to be on tour with
We're in the band.
Yeah, fuck those guys. We were talking about that the other day. Is like the singer was saying that, because the local radio station, we shared that 83 to them, and they're friends of ours up there, but they played it every day for like 3 weeks straight. And he said, well, what if this takes off? And I go, dude, what if it takes off? What are we gonna do? He's like, we're new nothing. They're gonna take off. It's a local radio station, and I don't even think people listen to local radio anymore.
Not really. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and I said, everybody nowadays listens to just like Amazon or Spotify. They pick what songs they listen to, what albums they listen to. If you pay for it, you don't have commercials. Everybody doesn't want to hear the commercials, and most of your local radio stations play the same 25 songs over and over on repeat cycle all day, every day. So,
I know those DJs up there, and he was saying, he goes, well, there's a top 100 for classic rocks. And I go, oh, is it the same? He goes, no, it changes weekly or changes monthly. I go, why would you even do that? So that way they have to play what they think they have to play, because there's a list saying what you should play. It's like, that's not the way music should be. You know, that's why I don't want no part of that. On Spotify, I picked the weirdest things. Like I've been hooked on that new Slash's album, the Orgy of the Dead, and I talk a lot of shit about Slash because I think I could take them and soloing head to head. Watch them see this clip and go tell me to go fuck off. But but he's doing all like old blues remakes with a lot of famous people. And I said, God dang, that's just so much fun and cool and stuff. Because it's like I feel like that's where I'm going to end up. Is like what's his name? Howlin' Wolf or something, sitting in a chair with my electric guitar and just getting to sing songs. Because it's like that's where I feel like I'm heading in life. Is that kind of stuff, and I love it so much. That blues stuff I love so much.
Yeah.
Right. I think the only bluesy band I ever got into that I was introduced to was the Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band.
Yeah, we had front row tickets to him, I guess, about a year ago locally here, and it was pretty dang cool. He puts on a good show. But there again, it's like I feel shitty even saying this shit, but God dang, it's like I don't feel like it's too far past anything I can do, and that's starting to weigh on me. You know what I mean? It's like the older I get stuff, it's like it's I don't know. It's just I get it, and it's not me being a hater. It's just my choices when I'm playing of choice of notes or choice of things and this and that. So I don't know. It's just if you play long enough, you realize that hey, you're pretty good, and if you play long enough, you realize damn, I suck really bad. So.
So now that we're at the end, where do you like to talk with your fans? Where do you like to get them to go to? Is there anything you want to throw out them that I especially like your Indiegogo right now?
Yeah, I mean, go if I was the fan and they wanted to catch up with Circus of the Dead, there's an official fan group on Facebook for Circus of the Dead, and like on this Indiegogo, I only put up secret perks on that page and that page alone. So if you're going to find some really weird stuff, if you go follow that side. And that's on Facebook. I do mostly Facebook. I'm best at, but I tried Instagram, tried a little bit of TikTok. I got reamed on Grindr, so I quit that. But yeah, I would say probably Facebook and on look for that official group. And unless you're just really weird like Gizmo up there, would probably add you.
They're also on YouTube as well. So if you guys want to see the wonderful 1983, go to YouTube. It's up there.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was music. I forget I'm a musician.
You're good. All right, on that, boys and girls, we're done tonight. We will be back tomorrow with another band, which I believe is Buzzed and Loaded. I believe. Correct. So they'll be on with us tomorrow night. We'll be back. Go check out Billy's stuff. Go watch Circus of the Dead. Go check out his band, Cornfed Cadillac. We are out of here this evening. We love you guys. We'll see you again tomorrow.